G'day guys and gal, the Emperor of Mankind, God Emperor, Big E, he who clapped the galaxy's cheeks. No matter what you call him, one thing remains the same, the Master of Mankind is obscenely powerful, both in life and death. The only things that actually match his power is his will and shitty parenting skills. But just how powerful is the Emperor really? We know he is a legendary psyker and an insanely intelligent scientist. But how much can he deadlift? What are his skills with a blade like? Is he actually a small weak man who pretends to be powerful using his advanced armor and psychic prowess? Or is he really the most powerful being in the galaxy in all forms? Before we get started, there are things in life that we really should be doing, but too many of us just don't. One of the biggest ones, especially for us blokes, is skincare. Your oily or dry, discolored, acne-ridden face is more than likely not just a case of rough genetics. Pretty much all of those issues can be sorted with skincare. Hence, Geology has partnered up with me to not only provide you a great skincare package, but also show you how to easily use it. I used to have a lot of issues with discolored and oily skin until I used the Geology survey, which creates a custom skincare routine based on your needs. Once that's finished, just buy the package using my incredibly sexy 70% off discount code and it comes straight to your door. I guarantee that after using a skincare routine for 1 week, you'll wonder how you manage without one. The biggest thing that will keep you looking fresh and young is skincare. Ever wonder how some people look great in their 40s and others look like recycled toilet paper in their 30s? Skincare. So to get your morning cream, night cream, eye serum, and face wash for 70% off, then use my link below. Cheers to Geology for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over the power of the God Emperor of Mankind, speaking about what powers he has in order to gauge how strong he is overall. I'll be treating his pre and post vegetabilization status separately. Let's get into it. The Emperor, regardless if you believe he was a failsafe created by the Old Ones or the conjoined soul of thousands of shamans, was born pretty bloody powerful. He was a psyker before psykers were a thing, stopping his own uncle's heart for murdering his father without even having to touch him. Beyond his psyker skills, the Emperor was also a perpetual, an immortal being who more or less cannot be killed. He would never age past his prime and never truly die. Perpetuals also gained other not very explored powers. Some were just like normal dudes, like Alanus Pius, notable more for their strength of will and bravery than actual physical prowess. Other, like Erda, the mother of the Primarchs, were like demigods taken out of Greek mythology, able to turn into a monster that could take on 4 greater demons at a time. Whilst the Emperor didn't get that silly, he was described as being the greatest of them, greater than even Erda. So off the bat, we can see that he was born into greatness. As the Emperor grew into manhood and his powers matured, he used his wisdom, if you can call it that, to subtly guide mankind. As mankind entered the dark age of technology, he actually went into hiding, waiting for the age of strife to occur so mankind would be weakened enough for him to take control. If he tried to take control during mankind's golden age, they genuinely would have been able to overcome him, and if not kill him, then at least lock him away. So whilst he was easily the single most powerful human in existence, he wasn't even close to being a god or powerful enough to outmuscle mankind at its peak. During these few thousand years before the birth of the Imperium, the Emperor got really into his science, most notably biomancy. The ability to edit DNA to create super soldiers was his new hobby. With this knowledge, he created his Custodes, who remain to this day the greatest super soldiers mankind has, other than the Primarchs. However, each custody was an unreplicatable work of art. They took a shitload of time, effort, and resources to create. As such, he couldn't mass produce them for his galactic or even global conquest. Hence, he used these skills to create the cheap yet effective Thunder Warriors. From there, it was the Primarchs and Space Marines. With the successes that these inventions wrought, it's clear that his initial key powers wasn't his body, but his mind. He needed his armies and legions to fulfill his ambition. There was just no way he could solo take the galaxy. Even the creation of the Primarchs and the Astartes wasn't entirely him. Erda did half the work for the Primarchs, while some scientist bitch, and she was a bitch, I'm not just being sexist, did a lot of heavy lifting for the Space Marines. The Emperor had limits to his knowledge. He wasn't all-knowing, all-seeing, or omnipresent. If he was, the galaxy probably wouldn't be such a shithole right now. In saying that, he could see the future in great detail. However, he described it as being able to see the destination, but not the infinite paths that could lead there. Also, as it has been established in 40k, the future is a fickle thing. Random shit occurs all the time that throws all farseeing and prophecy into the trash. After all, nobody foresaw Gilliman's resurrection, and it actually gave Titsnitch a massive headache. Despite that, future seeing does come in clutch and was another of the Emperor's key powers. He wasn't the best at it, but he was better than most. The thing about the Emperor is that he is never satisfied. There is always more power, more knowledge to gain. His hubris was so much that any source of power wasn't off limits. He believed he could conquer it all, even the darkest of power, and to be fair, he kind of could. On Moloch, it seemed as if he bargained with the Chaos Gods or the Warp itself to get a power boost, as well as the knowledge and power required to create the Primarchs. He then was somehow able to trick or outmuscle the denizens of the Warp without having to uphold his end of the bargain. Well, at least not until the Horus Heresy. This new power hit him harder than a mega dose of TRT to the scrotum. With this boost of his psychic might, the Emperor was able to make an entire legion of Marines kneel before him unconsensually, summon forth the souls of thousands of dead Astartes as well as their Primarch to fight for him, and he could unleash holy fire that could burn millions of demons instantly. He also had the rare and scary ability to obliterate a soul, doing so on a number of occasions, but most famously to Horus. He could choose what people saw him as. Even Primarchs struggled to see past his illusions. He could increase his size dramatically by combining his biomancy with his psychic powers. I mean, just look how fucking big he is here. It's insane. He is one of the 2 psykers in the galaxy that can ignore and overcome the pariah gene, blanks, something that even Magnus can't do. The other example for those interested is the Grey Knight Hyperion. Any soldiers under his command become unbreakable, A, because they are so full of awe to be in the presence of their emperor, and B, because his psychic aura fills them with courage. To add even more sugar to the spice, the emperor did all this shit while still powering the Astronomicon from half a galaxy away. So what about his physical strength and speed? Well, funnily enough, without his psychic might, the emperor is more or less a normal dude. Whenever he isn't flexing or in battle, his true resting form is an average man of average build and height. So you could argue that his physical power is actually his psychic power, but for the sake of not making this video Alpha Legion levels of confusing, let's just keep the 2 separate. He is strong as hell, easily stronger than his sons. During his first meeting with Russ, the Emperor lost an eating and drinking contest to the Wolf King. It's unclear if Lehman was just genuinely such an alcoholic that he was able to win, or if the Biggie let him, but regardless, the Emperor ended up punching Lehman in the face, knocking him out in a single hit. To be fair, the Emperor was wearing his power armor, but how much was him and how much was his armor isn't known. But if a Space Marine in power armor punched a Primarch, he'd probably break his hand. When the Emperor and Vulcan competed in a test of strength and endurance, both unarmored, they were evenly matched. However, the Emperor was able to kill and carry a larger salamander for their final competition. It also seems like the Emperor deliberately matched Vulcan in the previous challenges and through the final challenge so that Vulcan would swear loyalty to him. With Vulcan being one of, if not the strongest Primarch, this shows that the Emperor is above them all in strength. His swordsman skills would be excellent, but it's hard to know as they were barely tested. He fought more like an anime protagonist than a swordsman, as he would sweep through a battlefield, slaughtering the enemy in their hundreds. The Emperor did once get grabbed by an especially massive orc. The orc seemed poised to kill the Emperor before Horus saved him, but once again it's hard to know if this was the Emperor being genuinely taken off guard or a ploy to make Horus think he had just saved his father. What about his durability? Well, it is quite rare that the Emperor's durability gets tested, but holy shit, it certainly has been. During his quick duel with Dracnian, the Mega Demon impaled the Emperor on a pronged spear and hoisted him into the air. This hurt the Emperor, drew blood, and would have ruptured organs. However, after a minute of, "Oh fuck, that hurt," he was back in action. His fight with Horus was even more devastating, losing an arm, an eye, and his throat. Despite this, he was still alive enough to get to the Golden Throne and keep the galaxy glued together for the next 10,000 years. His durability stems from his perpetual status more than anything. Psykers die just like normal people if shot or stabbed, so it probably wasn't his Psyker prowess keeping him alive, just his immortality hacks that he was born with. Perpetuals aren't actually totally invulnerable, just mega hard to kill. If you stab a Perpetual with a crystallized shard of the Emperor's psychic might, it can kill them, like with what happened to Vulcan, except he survived, but that's beside the point. There are alternate futures where the Emperor does receive true death, if an enemy is able to fight their way to his Golden Throne, but this hasn't been tested in the main timeline, so who knows. It is actually a point of debate within the 40k universe as well as its fandom as to what would happen if someone killed the Emperor while he was on his Golden Throne. Would he regenerate back to full health? Would he stay dead and doom the Imperium to perpetual darkness and doom? Speaking of Throne Emperor, let's talk about Throne Emperor. Since becoming a deified battery, the Emperor's power has changed. He is immobile and struggles to pull his fractured consciousness together. Despite this, he is obscenely powerful, able to fart out warp storms, keep all 4 Chaos Gods at bay, power the Astronomicon, i.e. a massive warp beacon that can be seen by the entire galaxy, and even turn some of his followers into angelic superheroes. The funny part is that most of his feats of power are done by accident, more so someone tapping into his power rather than him deliberately focusing on them. When Gilliman woke up after 10,000 years of near-death stasis, fuck me, his back would have been sore, and met with the Emperor, he said that the Emperor was like a celestial entity, no longer human but significantly more powerful than he had been living as a man. After all, the Biggie gets countless sextillions of prayers every day, and has been consuming 1,000 cycles a day for 10,000 years. The dude is juiced as fuck, definitely not a natty anymore. With the opening of the Great Rift, the galaxy has been flooded with psychic energy, empowering the Emperor further and even allowing him to bring his consciousness together a lot easier, meaning Chaos has inadvertently given the Emperor the power he needs to achieve a total victory. Potentially. Good work, Abaddon. But whilst his psychic might has gone off the charts, his strength, speed, and literally anything else has gone down the bin. For the Emperor to merely communicate in most situations, he has to send fragmented, cryptic dreams to a select few custodies who then have to have a number of meetings to try piece together whatever the fuck their dad is trying to tell them. So if we were to go Dragon Ball Z mode and put a power level comparison, the current Throne Emperor has a higher power level. However, the Flesh and Blood Emperor of the Great Crusade was able to use his full power effectively. Here's a good example. When Horus was wounded with a Chaos Knife and Ferris was decapitated by Fulgrim, the Flesh and Blood Emperor wasn't even aware of both events as they occurred, and couldn't do shit to prevent them. However, when Gilliman was high-key killed by Mortarion, the Emperor was able to project his power across the galaxy, cure Gilliman, bring him back to life, call Mortarion a bitch, and then set Nurgle on fire. Another example is that when the Flesh and Blood Emperor was confined to the Golden Throne after Magnus did something very wrong, 95% of his focus was on the throne. He couldn't do shit with the war and could only communicate with a select few custodies. Now in his corpse form, he's dealing with the same if not worse issues as he was when he was alive. However, now he interacts with the galaxy, creating living saints and shit. So overall, the Emperor is powerful as holy hell, easily the most powerful entity in real space when he was out of his wheelchair, and maybe even the warp post his ascension. The issue is that he struggles to coordinate his power or access all of it at the same time, due to how fragmented his soul currently is. Invoking the Emperor's name is enough to cause demons pain. The Chaos Gods are very wary of him. He made some Elder Harlequins reconsider if they truly were superior to humans, and the Orcs admire him as a legendary god of war. I don't think I really need to go on. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, where there is not only nude models in Battle Mace cosplay, but also a boatload of hentai. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more overpowered content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.